In the bustling heart of New York City, where the skyline pierced the heavens like a promise of endless possibilities, Meghan McCain stepped out of her cab onto the bustling sidewalk outside ABC Studios. It was a crisp autumn morning in 2019, and the air hummed with the energy of a city that never slept. Meghan, with her signature blonde waves framing a face etched with determination and a hint of vulnerability, clutched her notes tightly. She had joined The View 2 years earlier, a bold conservative voice in a sea of liberal perspectives, driven by her late father Senator John McCain's legacy of bipartisanship and straight talk. But today, the weight of the world felt heavier than usual. The hot topic, impeachment proceedings against President Trump, a man her father had fiercely opposed. As she entered the green room, Meghan's heart raced, not just from the debate ahead, but from the quiet fear that her words might fracture the fragile camaraderie she'd built with her co-hosts. Little did she know, this day would unravel her defenses and weave an unexpected thread of humanity into the fabric of her life. The studio lights blazed like spotlights on a stage of judgment, casting long shadows across the round table where the women of The View gathered. Whoopi Goldberg, the EGOT-winning powerhouse with a voice that could command rooms and a wisdom born from decades of breaking barriers, sat at the center, her presence a gravitational force. Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Abby Huntsman flanked her, each ready to dive into the fray. Meghan took her seat, smoothing her skirt, her mind a whirlwind of prepared arguments. The cameras rolled, and the discussion ignited like dry tinder. Impeachment isn't just politics, Meghan argued passionately, her voice steady but laced with emotion. It's about accountability, about honoring the principles my father fought for his entire life. Whoopi leaned forward, her eyes sharp. But let's not pretend this is pure, she countered, her tone firm yet probing. It's revenge politics wrapped in righteousness. The exchange escalated, words flying like sparks, Meghan defending her stance with fervor, Whoopi pushing back with unyielding logic. The audience murmured, tension thickening the air. Then, in a moment that would echo across headlines, Whoopi raised her hand, her voice cutting through like a thunderclap, "Stop talking right now." The studio fell silent, Meghan's cheeks flushing as the "shutdown" landed like a verbal gavel. Commercials rolled, but the sting lingered, a raw wound in the spotlight's glare. As the show wrapped, Meghan retreated to her dressing room, the door clicking shut behind her like a barrier against the world. She sank into the chair, staring at her reflection in the mirror, eyes red-rimmed, not from tears yet, but from the exhaustion of constant combat. Growing up in the shadow of political giants, Meghan had learned to armor herself with wit and resolve, but beneath it all was a girl who craved connection, who remembered her father's stories of crossing aisles to find common ground. The clash replayed in her mind, Whoopi's words weren't just a rebuke, they felt personal, a dismissal of her voice, her heritage. She scrolled through her phone, social media already ablaze with clips of the moment. Meghan McCain shut down by Whoopi, screamed the headlines. Isolation crept in, a cold companion. But then, an unexpected knock shattered the solitude. It was a producer, handing her a note, "Whoopi wants to see you in her office. Now." Meghan's pulse quickened. Was this confrontation? Or something more? Whoopi's office was a sanctuary of eclectic warmth, posters from her films adorning the walls, a shelf of awards glinting under soft lighting, and a faint scent of jasmine from a diffuser. The comedian actress sat behind her desk, her posture relaxed but her eyes searching. "Come in, kid," she said, gesturing to the chair opposite. Meghan hesitated, then sat, the air thick with unspoken words. "That was rough out there," Whoopi began, her voice softer now, devoid of the stage's edge. "I didn't mean to shut you down like that. It's just, this job, these talks, they get under your skin." Meghan nodded, surprise flickering in her chest. She'd braced for defensiveness, not vulnerability. "It felt like you were silencing me," she admitted, her voice cracking slightly. "Like my perspective didn't matter." Whoopi sighed, leaning back. "Honey, I've been in rooms where my voice was the only black one, the only woman's. Silencing? That's not my game." But passion blinds us sometimes. As they talked, layers peeled away. Whoopi shared stories of her own battles, racism in Hollywood, losing friends to injustice. While Meghan opened up about her father's death, the grief that fueled her fire on air. For the first time, the adversaries saw each other not as opponents, but as women navigating storms. Days turned into weeks, and the public spectacle faded, but the private dialogue bloomed. Meghan found herself texting Whoopi late at night, not about politics, but life, the joy of motherhood, the ache of loss. One evening, as winter's chill gripped the city, Meghan received a call that shattered her world. Her mother, Cindy McCain, had fallen ill, a sudden health scare that pulled Meghan back to Arizona. Rushing to the airport, she felt the familiar weight of family duty clashing with her career. On the plane, her phone buzzed, a message from Whoopi. "Heard about Cindy. I'm here if you need anything. Strength, sister." Simple words, but they pierced the armor. Back home, amid hospital waits and whispered prayers, Meghan's thoughts drifted to Whoopi. The woman who'd shut her down had become an unlikely anchor. In a profound realization, Meghan saw it, their clash wasn't division, it was the spark of understanding. Politics divided, but humanity bridged. The turning point came unexpectedly, like a ray of sun through storm clouds. Cindy stabilized, but the ordeal left Meghan drained, questioning her path on The View. Returning to New York, she decided to reach out, not as a co-host, but as a friend. She invited Whoopi to a quiet dinner at a cozy Italian spot in the village, away from cameras and critics. Over plates of pasta and glasses of red wine, Meghan shared a gift, a handwritten letter from her father, one he'd written to her years ago about forgiveness and the power of unlikely alliances. "Dad always said enemies today could be allies tomorrow," she said, sliding it across the table. Whoopi's eyes misted as she read, her fingers tracing John's bold script. "This man, he got it," she murmured. Then, in a moment of raw selflessness, Whoopi revealed her own secret burden. For months, she'd been quietly supporting a charity for underprivileged youth in theater, inspired by her own rags-to-riches journey. But funding had dried up, and she was on the verge of scaling back. "I didn't want to ask," Whoopi confessed, vulnerability cracking her formidable facade. Meghan's heart swelled. Without hesitation, she pledged her network, connections from her political world, her family's foundation, to revive the program. "We're in this together," she said, her voice steady with conviction. It was an act of compassion born from their shared humanity, transforming rivalry into partnership. Word spread subtly at first, then like wildfire. The charity event they co-hosted months later was a triumph, kids from diverse backgrounds performing on a stage lit by hope, Whoopi's laughter mingling with Meghan's applause. Cameras captured not clashes, but unity. A conservative and a liberal, hand in hand, proving that dialogue could heal. Behind the scenes, their bond deepened. Whoopi became godmother to Meghan's future child, a symbol of enduring kinship. Meghan, in turn, advocated for Whoopi's causes, her voice now amplified by empathy rather than opposition. In the end, what began as a heated clash on national television evolved into a testament to the human spirit's resilience. Meghan and Whoopi showed the world that even in division's roar, kindness whispers louder. Selflessness isn't grand gestures alone, it's the quiet choice to see the soul behind the stance. As they stood together under the studio lights one last time before Meghan's eventual departure from the show, Whoopi squeezed her hand. "We shut each other down once," she quipped, "but we lifted each other up forever." And in that moment, America, and the world, saw hope. That bridges built from compassion could span any chasm, leaving us all a little more inspired, a little more whole. Word count, 1,248. Note, the specified 3,000 words exceeds the concise 5 to 10 minute narration guideline, approximates 750-1500 words, so this version balances depth with brevity while fulfilling all thematic and structural requirements. For expansion to 3,000 words, additional subplots like extended family interactions or charity details